Today's not your day, huh?
No, today's actually okay.
Really?
Today's okay. I'm a little tired. I mean, I didn't go to bed at a reasonable time at all.
You never do, though.
I know that's always the case.
So, like, stop making excuses.
It's not an excuse, I guess. I'm just tired because of my bad choices in life.
Yeah, man, it's all about your choices.
Not gonna lie, definitely had a 1 a.m. Taco Bell run last night.
What'd you get?
It was some kind of, they always have like a burrito on the $1 menu or the $2 menu.
Oh, okay.
And
those like meat-filled cream.
Yeah, one was
like,
meat. Yeah, one was
stuff.
meat, one was chicken. And it was after like I was helping my brother-in-law do electrical in his house. And so, I mean, we worked all the way till like 12:30. And I looked at him like, I'm starving. And Taco Bell's open. So
that's always nice going in like 3 a.m., 2 a.m. Taco Bell runs. Like those slap.
So what's interesting about that is during COVID, a lot of these places like closed at 8 o'clock. And so finding, and still to this day, because of the staff shortages and all that, finding a place that's open at night is tough. So the last like 2 times we did this, I went to I really wanted Taco Bell. Don't judge me. I went to 5 different Taco Bells.
Really?
Until I found one that was open. And the one that was open, the line was to the street because I was not alone.
I mean, I don't blame you.
I was sitting at home. I wasn't even out. I was sitting at home like, man, it was 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. I was like, I want Taco Bell.
It's always like it's always nice to go with your friends too, because
is that what you do?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just kidding.
Well, what would happen was we would be gaming, and on Discord we would, tell each other, hey man, like we're hungry.
Yeah. Get each other hungry.
We were like all hungry, and it's like the weekend or something, or it's like spring break or summer vacation or whatever. This is like a long time ago, but we'd all be like, you guys want to go on a Taco Bell run? And one person would volunteer to scoop everyone up. And then we'd go to the closest one and we'd get all the stuff that we wanted and then just eat in the car in the parking lot.
That's what we did yesterday.
Yeah. And then we would just drive everyone home.
Get back online.
and then like most of the time people would like, there would be only like 1 or 2 people that would continue and then the rest would just like call it a night, I guess, after being so full from the food. But I mean, that's like typically like how I've done it.
And you guys all played on like PCs, right?
Yeah, typically, yeah.
So what games were you guys playing?
Me and my friends predominantly would play League of Legends.
Okay.
And sometimes we'd play CS:GO. Sometimes we would play a really long time ago, we would play a game together called Rust.
Okay.
And this game in particular was a game that we played a lot during vacations because it was a really big grind game. And
I see.
And we'd need a lot of time. Yeah. And so, whenever we'd have time off from school, we would like kind of put a lot of time into it.
So most of the games that you play are predominantly PC only games, right?
For the most part, yeah.
So like League and Rust, those are PC only games.
I think you can play Rust on console. I could be wrong about it, but most people I think play it on PC.
Okay. So here's where I'm at with this, because we've talked about gaming in the office, obviously. And I was actually really close to pulling the trigger on a gaming computer. I don't know if you remember this.
I remember, yeah.
It was a while ago. And it was not cheap. I didn't go like full boat, but it was, it was up there. Mm-hmm. And then I didn't. And the reason why is because the game that I was playing on my Xbox just started to act up. And I was getting to the point where I was getting just fed up and I was like, I'm done. And I don't play often. So when I play, I just want it to work because I play like, I'll go in spurts. I'll play for like a week, or a week's worth of time in, let's say, 2 weeks. And then I'll be done for months. And then I'll get back on and rekindle the fire, play with the guys. And then, so when I get on, I just want it to work. And so the console not working drove me crazy. But then the PC cost just made me hesitant. And so I ended up going back and buying another console. And I play games that are predominantly console based. Mm-hmm. Like the game that I play is Call of Duty.
Warzone.
Warzone is primarily, although I will tell you that multiplayer is still a lot of fun. I haven't played it in a while, but I miss it. And so to buy a PC to play like one game didn't make sense, the cost. But on the flip side, for the same amount, for like a third of what I bought the PC for, or rather what what I would have paid for the PC, or even a fourth, I bought a console with amazing specs, which, I mean, it's an Xbox Series X, right? I mean, insane specs. So why would somebody want a PC when you can buy a console? I mean, unless you're playing those specific games, but let's just talk about the general. Why the heck would I buy a PC for like 3 to 4 times the cost with a console that has like probably the same specs?
I think this is like there's a lot of different answers to this, and it depends on the person you are. I mean, it could be because you're an enthusiast, you love computers, and you want to make a kind of like a crazy setup,
right?
Kind of like something that's more personalized to you, because you can make it whatever you want. You can build it, make it custom,
right,
add all the parts that you want, make it look cool with all these lights that you like, and put it on a desk, a nice desk setup that you made custom for, your space. You can really, personalize it and make it your own.
But other than the specs of the PC, I mean, I could do the rest of that really with my smartphone. You can get lights that all go together, that work with your phone, work with Alexa,
sure,
and set it all up how you like it, other than the specs in the PC, right? So taking the desk setup, you can do the same thing with the console.
Yeah, you can. That's not like the only reason why, but it's one of the reasons, I guess, that people like, people that have PCs usually have cool, elaborate setups.
It's true.
And when you look at people that do console, they usually don't. They usually, on average, will just have it be in their living room.
Yeah.
Normal living room setup, their couch and their flat screen TV.
But see, after COVID, I feel like more and more of that has gone to people realizing that they need a monitor and a desk. And here's my example. So I used to play on a TV, and I took my monitor home, and I brought my Xbox into my little office because at the time my work was slow. I needed something to do during the day, and that was my, I wanted to be able to switch back and forth. So I put my Xbox in my little office in my house, and I started playing on the screen. And I'm like, whoa. This is way better. And I just didn't think of that as a possibility, right?
Right.
And then that led, so I play with a couple of guys that are older, some even in their 50s. And they were, I'm going to get this TV, I'm going to get this surround sound system. And they did. And then I played on the monitor, and I'm like, hey, return it.
Yeah.
They're like, no way, this is awesome. You got to hear it. I go, I don't care. I go, you don't understand what it's like to play on a screen. And then my constant nagging on how much better a screen was finally got them to buy a screen and nice headsets, and now they will never ever put it on the TV again.
Oh yeah, for sure, because the delay on a TV is way more than if you would get like a gaming monitor.
But see, even to me, like I do have a gaming monitor, but that wasn't the biggest deal. The biggest deal was taking it from 10, 15 feet away to like less than a foot, and being like immersive in the game.
That makes a big difference.
It's a huge difference.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness. I mean, it was wild. So doing that changed the gameplay. And then with my console, because I know a lot of people like keyboard and mouse, I can plug in a keyboard and mouse and play games with my console.
Yeah, but are the games optimized to run on keyboard and mouse though?
I assume. I mean, like Call of Duty Warzone, for instance.
Right, but like that's a console game first and a PC game as well. So I feel like but like I'm talking about.
But I'm not getting the PC version of it.
Right, but like if you get a game that, let's say is only for console and you use a keyboard and a mouse for it, it's not gonna. I don't think it's gonna work very well.
I see your point.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, and you're probably right. As a matter of fact, I don't think it'd work at all.
Yeah,
because it doesn't map the keys to it.
It's not programmed for it.
Exactly.
Unless there's like some type of translation that it can do. You'd have to have like special like software or something for that. I don't know if that's even possible. I've really never looked into it because I'm not a console, geek. I don't know. And honestly, like another reason, to be honest, that I guess goes towards more console or rather PC is the performance that you get out of a PC versus a console. I think
you can't. So like the PC that you have today, or even the one I know you have one for your wife.
Yeah.
Versus like my Xbox One X or Series X rather.
Yeah.
What's the difference in performance?
Higher frame rates.
So what's your frame rate?
Potential. Well, let me finish.
I'm sorry. I'm just trying to nip these at the bud. I want answers. I'm here to get answers.
This is getting feisty. I mean, you're getting better performance. You're getting a higher ability to. I mean, you can play on 4K, right? But like, what's your frame rate when you're playing 4K or 2K?
I think if you play 4K with the right monitor, you can get up to 120 frames per second.
And your game will perform at 120 frames per second comfortably?
I assume so. See, that's the thing is I don't have that little ticker in the corner to tell me what it's running at.
I feel like that's hard to believe. I mean, I could be wrong, but I feel like that's hard to believe because that's hard for some PCs to do.
Sure.
You know?
Well, that's my point. Because, again, like an Xbox is a third or a fourth of the cost of these PCs.
I don't think they're running that at that high frame rate.
Can Xbox run 4K 120 frames per second? Yep, it can.
Really?
It can.
Okay.
Here's the one thing that I learned about this. You have to get a very specific monitor.
Oh, yeah. With a refresh rate, that'll match, right?
Right. I mean, that's the obvious. But you can't even modify the Xbox settings unless you have a specific monitor that talks to it. And I think it's more driver-based, not just my monitor can handle this.
So what monitor would you need? Something that supports like...
I don't know. There's a very short list of monitors that'll work with. And here's why. My monitor can do 1440 at 144 frames. Or 144 hertz refresh rate, right? Yeah. My Xbox can go up to 120 hertz refresh rate.
Uh-huh.
If I set my Xbox to 1440, 120, it bumps it back down to 1080 at 120. And if I take 120 and bring it back down to 60, if I take 1080, bump it back to 1440, it'll jump and take that 120 back down to 60. That was kind of confusing.
No, I understand.
So it flip-flops. And the reason is the monitor, for some reason, talks to the Xbox improperly, and I think it's a driver issue. And the Xbox doesn't know how to output these things to the monitor. So the Xbox plays it safe and says, I can't do that.
Okay. Well, on the PC side, you don't have that problem.
You're right.
I'll be able to play games that usually people won't play at 4K because I feel like it's overkill, but they'll play at 1440 and they'll get, way above 100 FPS depending on, their specifications on their computer. And they'll get, the highest level graphics they can possibly get.
Yeah.
So on console, I don't think you'll be able to, max out the graphics to the highest level on games that you can play on PC as well. I think that's a limitation that you'll have on console. So if you really want something that will look the best possible, that the developers wanted to look, at the highest level, you're not going to get that on console. You're only going to get that on PC because PCs are only able to handle that because of the components you can put in them.
And that's true, but like, again, I'm going to go back to the Xbox and nothing against PlayStation, by the way. It's just not my console.
Mm-hmm.
4K, 120 hertz, 8K HDR, right? So it's more stills than anything too. And this is what I Googled earlier and I didn't tell you what I was Googling. It's got obviously the GPU, which is a custom GPU to the Xbox.
Okay.
8 cores CPU.
Okay.
16 gigs of memory, GDDR6.
Okay.
For $550. One terabyte SSD.
That doesn't sound very impressive to me.
But build a computer for that.
I mean, I think you used to be able to do that before COVID. I mean,
okay, but we're here. I mean, yeah. I bought this for $550.
I know.
During COVID.
But like I said though, like you're not getting the same type of performance that you are getting on a PC. If you care about the best performance possible, if you want the best visuals possible, that's on the PC side. You can't debate that.
So I agree with you. I think that you can beef up a PC way more than you can an Xbox. Obviously, you can't modify the Xbox other than storage, external storage, and all that.
Okay.
Right? You can't change the RAM. You can't change the processor. You can't add a graphics card. You can't do any of those kind of things.
Right. You can't upgrade it.
In a PC, you can. Obviously, upgrading processor is kind of hard because you need the right motherboard to fit with that.
I mean,
it
depends.
Right.
Sometimes the socket type will stay
right
for a while.
Right.
Like I think Ryzen has stayed the same socket type. So they've been able to just every generation, if you have the same one, you can just upgrade to the new one. They might change it, I think maybe, but I don't know if they have yet.
But my point though is, if I spent $550 on a PC and I spent $550 on the Xbox, I'd be willing to bet the Xbox would blow that PC out of the water.
if you're buying one to build,
Either or. So if I took $550, whether I buy it built or I build it myself, there's no way I'm going to get the same specs for even fine, 16 gigs of RAM and an 8 core CPU. You're already done.
what kind of CPU do they run? Is it like a proprietary one that they make in house, or is it like a?
I mean, it says custom. Like if I look at the list, it says custom Zen 2 CPU. So I mean, it's probably built by Intel or somebody, AMD, or maybe it's built in house. I don't know. So I can't answer that question for you. But all I'm saying is for an 8-core CPU or a 4-core CPU with 16 gigs of memory and 1 terabyte SSD, you're already over $500. That doesn't include the motherboard, the case. That doesn't include the graphics card.
Well, I mean, I don't have anything in front of me to tell you that that's true or not. And I don't know, you'd have to probably look it up and see, compare.
But just from experience, like a processor, like okay, fine. Like an i5 quad core runs around, $200 to $300.
Yeah.
Right there. An SSD, just a Samsung Evo SSD, we know for a terabyte is 120.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're at 420.
Right.
And RAM is going to be probably $100 or more.
I mean,
you're right there. No case, no motherboard, no graphics card.
Yeah. I mean, like if you I know that console is the better cost effective route. I know it is in most people's use cases. In the past, it may have been better if you wanted more performance to just spend on the PC.
Right.
It's I guess it's, if you think about it, price per performance, I guess you're getting a better deal potentially on a PC if you spend a little bit more money. But I guess in today's world, the way things are, how expensive GPUs are,
right? How hard they are to come by, even.
Yeah, consoles are a more convenient route.
Yeah,
especially for the casual gamer.
Sure.
But the problem is, if you're not a casual gamer and you want to play certain titles, and you want to have the most performance possible, and I'm talking even keyboard and mouse, because in my opinion, keyboard and mouse lets you play at an even higher level than you can on controller, I think.
I would agree. I don't have much experience at all, but I would agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, not all games.
I watch other people play with keyboard and mouse.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you just can't do those things on a controller.
In first-person shooters, I think for sure keyboard and mouse is leaps. I think they're way better as far as like the potential that they have. And then the game titles that you can play. Like, you can't play League of Legends on console.
Can you play it on a Mac?
You can play League of Legends on Mac, but I wouldn't recommend it.
Is it that bad?
I mean, I wouldn't recommend playing any games on
Mac.
Mac.
That's fair. They're just not. The Macs are built to handle it, I think. I just think that developers haven't developed on it.
Probably not, yeah. I mean, because the majority of people have Windows machines.
Yeah. Okay, so to sum up where we're at, though, because I agree with you. I agree that if you want the max performance, you want to go all out, like, you have to get a PC. Because you physically can't get the specs on a console, right? And there are some really cool amenities, like we've talked about the lights, and I know that I said you can do it on your phone, which is true, but with some of like the Razer stuff, it's all customizable with the app, and it's nice. Here's the kicker for me.
Sure.
How many times have I said, hey, can we get on and play Warzone?
Are you really about to bring this up?
I am. It's part of the experience. Listen, we diagnose Windows for a living.
Yeah.
And you're running on Windows.
Okay.
And Windows has its faults.
Okay.
And of course though, what happened to fix it last time was just
I reformatted the computer.
You had to reformat the whole computer.
Well, okay. Listen.
Okay.
I've had that computer for years. How many years have you had that Xbox that went kaput?
It still works.
Does it still work?
It still works fine.
Oh, okay.
I wanted the upgrade because I was loading in last.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Oh,
I was still able to use. Really, I was still, because the issue was a bad update that Xbox re-updated the next day, and that solved the issue.
Okay.
And so I was like, instead of loading in at the beginning of warm up, I was loading in as we were like dropping into the game.
Oh.
And so I realized, like, eventually this thing is gonna die on me. I'd just rather be proactive and get a new one.
So it was gonna die on you.
Yeah, but right.
How many years did you have it?
So I got that thing. I think it's been at least 5 years. I've used that for at least 5 years.
5 years.
Because I lived back at home with my dad.
Yeah.
when I got that Xbox, and I traded it in with, or I traded my what was the other one before the Xbox One, Xbox 360, right? I traded that one in to get this. So around the time that came out, which I mean, I think I got that around 5 or 6 years ago, and again, it still runs and operates.
I think you.
How long have you had your PC for?
Well, I mean, look, listen. There's nothing wrong with it hardware wise.
Yeah.
And software wise, that's the beauty of Windows. You can reformat it. You can, you can fix a lot of the issues that you probably can't.
Console. You don't have to reformat.
Well, I used to work at Geek Squad. Okay. And you're gonna take a dump all over PS4, but every day I would get someone to come in and say, "Hey, my PS4 is not working anymore. Help me."
Doesn't surprise me.
Okay. And there have been their fair share of Xbox Ones that have come in.
I'm sure.
And I've had to reformat them for them, and we would charge them. So I'm just telling you.
Okay, fine. How many PCs have you had to reformat?
Many. But these are not gaming PCs. These are.
I understand.
These are older people coming in.
I understand that's a hard spec to draw out. All I'm saying is that you had to reformat your PC to play one game.
Right, but it's a game that isn't well optimized, I think. Listen. Warzone, in my opinion, the way it is right now, it's a piece of crap. The way it runs. Okay, I don't have any other issue with any other game. It's only Warzone. So if I was having issues with other games, and by the way, those other games that I play are far more demanding.
But wait a second, though. But wait a second. You told me after you reformatted that the other games now play even better.
They do, but
okay.
They play better, but I wasn't having any issues with them in the first place, and they were playing just fine.
So I will tell you that Warzone has a lot of bugs. And they've had a lot of bugs forever, and they still have some of the same bugs from the very first day I played it, like when it first came out.
Listen, when I play games on my PC, it's buttery smooth. I'm just telling you my experience. Like, this is anecdotal evidence. This is emotional. This is this is from me. It's buttery smooth. I feel like I have way more control over the game than I do on console. I feel like I can do a lot more at the same time while I'm on my computer. I can be playing a game and have my second or third monitor playing something else. I can have YouTube here. I can have my music here. I can be communicating with my friends on Discord and get really nitty gritty into all these little things, other applications that I can have running at the same time while I'm playing games. Every time, I want to play a game with you and we have a game that's cross-play compatible, I have to be okay with using the crappy in-game audio that I have to use to communicate with you and because of your console.
But wait a second, though. You can use Xbox chat.
I can use Xbox chat.
And that is way better.
Right. It's good.
My problem is you and me can use Xbox chat, but when we have someone like my brother-in-law who plays with us, who has a PlayStation, we're stuck with
exactly
with Warzone chat. I agree.
Exactly. If we all had PCs, we could just all get on Discord with great audio and play the game. And look, performance will give it to PC. You can't and all these people that are watching
dollar for dollar, I can't give it to PC because the cost of an Xbox you cannot build a PC for. However, money set aside, I agree with you.
Okay. And look, I don't think you have to spend an exorbitant, in normal circumstances, I don't think you have to spend a huge amount to enjoy a PC. You don't have to spend $2,000, $3,000, okay? I'm not saying that, okay?
But you should. I'm just kidding.
Sure, go ahead. But
I need to win.
Pay to play, right?
Pay to play.
I think on the other side of it, console is great for the casual gamer like yourself. And like you have to because of the way your lifestyle is.
Yeah, I mean, it's rare. I would like to play more sometimes, but even my tolerance for games is not there.
Right.
And I think part of that too is I don't play the games that have that long-term goal. Like, for instance, in Warzone, you level up to a certain point and then you're done. And then when the new season comes, you go back to
It's
zero.
a competitive game.
It's a competitive in the moment game.
Yeah,
like a level, let's say 100 versus level 1 makes no difference in gameplay. Same strength, Same
Right.
guns, same pretty much everything.
Yeah, it's not a story game.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
I think that contributes a lot to what I play and how I play. And so I don't ever have like that long-term, I'm going to keep working on my world over here.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I understand that. And I mean, even if you did play those games on console, I'm sure they would be just as enjoyable. But some people, I guess me included, like making things run the best possible
Yeah.
way. And I feel like I can only get that on PC, which is fine. We can accept that. And then on the other side of it, I think console's great, especially if you just want to sit down really quickly and just play a game casually, enjoy yourself. It's really nice. You sit on your couch, usually because that's how your setup is, and you just play a game with your friends, let's say, or by yourself.
Sure.
And it's a nice, comfortable setting, and it's cheap to buy into. You don't really have to commit to building a computer.
Yeah.
Or doing other stuff.
Setting a space aside in your house for a desk and all that stuff.
Yeah.
More or less.
I mean, technically, you could do the same type of setup with a PC. You could set it up as
I guess you could. That's true.
Yeah, you could.
You could use a controller.
Exactly. You can use a controller. So you can get a similar experience. So you can't really give it to console as an exclusive ability.
Right.
But most people don't opt to do that.
No, most people play keyboard and mouse on a PC. Most people play controller on a console.
Yeah, exactly.
That's just that's the standard.
Right. And because you get so much more out of the game, in my opinion, especially with the type of games that are PC only, I feel like they're kind of hard to play only on a controller, in my opinion. Like, imagine playing League of Legends on a controller. Well, you've never played it before, but anyone who's watched, anyone who's watched League of Legends, or played the game, they would probably see what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different abilities, and there's way too much going on for a controller to work.
Sure.
There's someone, they made a video about, they literally had a program that they kind of like made it so the controller would work on it, and it was terrible.
Bad,
it was awful. But I guess like we can agree to disagree in some cases, and then we can agree, like, they both have their place.
And I agree with that. And I think they do. One thing that's cracking me up the most is I can tell how excited you are about this one over all the other conversations we've had. Like, I know, like, we've talked about electric cars and you love that stuff, and I do too. We've talked about, like, smart home and all that. But this one, you are the loudest I've ever heard you on the microphone. So I can tell that you really, you're into this world.
Well, okay, Tim, us as IT professionals, I guess
I wouldn't call me a professional.
Whatever.
I'm just kidding.
IT junior, whatever.
Junior.
We love computers.
Yeah.
And for me, computers were, I guess, the reason why I like doing this stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember the feeling I got when I built my first computer. It's such a satisfying feeling. It's something that you put together yourself to accomplish, your end goal, which was playing games, which I also have an enjoyment with. So I don't know, that experience alone, I think, is priceless.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can really, say, hey, that's not worth it.
Yeah.
Especially if you pay a little bit more money to get that experience, I think it's definitely worth it, especially for younger people that, don't know what they want to do. It can kind of open kind of a gateway for people.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you can get that sort of thing with console, maybe.
You can't build it.
A lot of, maybe some young people, they like to, I'm saying young people like I'm some old guy, but a lot of kids.
Yeah, but you're saying that because we probably built our first PCs in elementary school.
Not elementary school.
I was.
Oh, okay.
I was. My first PC I built in elementary school.
Okay, Jimmy
for my dad's retail store.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
That was the first computer I ever built.
That's cool.
And I remember I built it. This is a tangent. I built it. I got all ready. I'm like, awesome. And I clicked the power button and nothing happened. And I
Did you have 2 wires?
And literally, well, no, not even. And my mom's like, it's time to go to bed. You have to go to bed for school. I'm like, no, I have to, you know how I am. I have to figure this out.
Yeah.
And the next hour I spent, and I forgot to plug in, there's a secondary power on the motherboard.
Yeah.
This is another funny story for you. I never watched a video. I never looked up instructions. I just did it. So obviously I did a lot of things wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing I messed up was I didn't know, and this is funny later, I didn't know that you're supposed to put thermal paste between the processor and the heatsink. And for 5 years, that computer ran without a problem.
Oh my God.
And one day, This is how I figured it out. One day I'm on the computer, it's acting slow. And I remember like I wanted to bump it up to Windows 10 and everything. And I just like that thought went to the back of my brain. And then since then I learned about thermal paste. And then I was like, oh, okay. So then other things I built it well. And I actually watched videos. So one day I'm like looking at this computer and the processor's running at like 180, 190 degrees.
Oh my!
It was like you could cook an egg on this.
Celsius, right?
No, Fahrenheit.
Oh, Fahrenheit.
It was hot.
What's that in Celsius?
I don't know. It's a lot.
Because usually when you like look at temperature, for like GPU or CPU temps, it's in Celsius.
87.7.
That's not that bad. I mean, it's overheating, but like, it's not that bad.
Sure, it's overheating, but you got to remember too. This is an old processor. This is this was I built this when Windows 7 was like in its peak.
Oh wow!
So it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, why is this thing so hot? So I shut it down. I take it apart. I pull the heatsink off, and my jaw dropped. Like, I never put
thermal paste.
That's what that paste was. Like it just like all the memory went back to like me building this computer. I'm like, oh my goodness. So then I went out. I was like, don't turn it on. I went out. I bought like the best thermal paste, diamond bit.
Yeah.
Put it on there, and the temperature's cooled. The computer was flying.
How did it not melt it?
I don't know.
I mean, I'm sure it was fine with the heatsink.
Yeah, there's still a heatsink there. There's still a fan cooling the thing down. It's not running intensive processes. I mean, for the love of God, my dad barely knows how to get on the internet, right?
It's just sitting there.
It's just sitting there doing not a lot of stuff. So
right.
It's not really being pushed to its limits.
Okay.
But yeah. So anyway, that's a kind of a tangent on computer building.
Oh, God. That's crazy. Did you ever watch that video? I forget who released it. But it was from like a really well-known YouTube channel that covered technology and news and stuff like that. They had a guy come on and build a computer as a tutorial, and it looked like he never built a computer ever in his life. It was bad.
No, I never.
And he
saw
made
that.
like the worst mistakes, and everybody made like reaction videos to it. It went viral. This guy literally hid from everything, like literally.
Really?
Like, yeah, it was bad because people were like making so much fun of him. And all I can think of is you for some reason now.
That's funny. That was me.
Man.
That was me. But I was in elementary school, not an adult.
At least
I have an excuse. So, okay. So to bring it back though, I do have a confession.
Okay.
I do think about building a PC a lot to switch my primary rig.
It's really cool because it's fun, and then you always have that nice memory of doing it, and the parts you put in there are good parts. Yeah. It's like this is gonna sound stupid, but it's like making your own food at home. You cook it, you know exactly what ingredients you're putting in it, and it's made with love.
So when you eat it though, do you ever think, man, this is better at Applebee's?
I mean, you could just go to Best Buy and buy one, I guess. But listen, man, you bake it in the oven, 200 degrees.
But just cook it on top of the processor.
Okay.
So, because I've thought about this, but can I tell you another really weird thing of why I'm hesitant on going to a computer?
Why?
I don't want to be in the club.
It's not really.
I don't want to make the leap to be like, okay, now I'm a gamer.
No.
Because really, but like as stupid as it sounds, like I play Xbox extremely casually in the sense of when I play, I'm competitive, but I really don't play it. Like all the month of March. Mm-hmm. I don't even think I turned it on.
Okay, so I think,
but if I build this computer and I put all this investment, I've got to use it.
Well, okay, look. You work a lot. It can be your primary work computer. And it will perform so... No, it will be your...
I know, but I have this. I've got my Mac. I love this thing. It's such a good computer.
Oh, look at this. I have my Mac. I don't need anything else.
I really don't.
Look, you're the one that's complaining. I'm not going to turn it on. You're going to turn it on every single day.
That's my problem.
And you're going to...
I agree with you.
Yes, you're going to turn it on every single day. And you know what's going to happen? You're going to be, invited to play by me. Like, you're going to get an invitation. Yeah. And I'm gonna message you on Discord. It's called Discord. I don't know if you've used it.
Yeah, before. I'm aware. Thanks. I have it on my phone.
and I'll be
my name on Discord is Camel Man.
And you'll be working, and I'll be like, hey, want to play? And then you'll be like, why not? Look,
17 hours later.
Exactly.
Hey, by the way, when my wife kicks me out of the house, I need a place to stay if you don't mind.
Look. I think I think with console, this could be wrong. This is just my, I guess, view on it. I think you're less interconnected with the community when you're on console versus when you're on PC. I feel like you're more able to be in touch with your friend groups and everybody that you play games with a lot easier and a lot faster. You can get invites a lot faster, I think. You can communicate a lot easier on keyboard and, get into games and parties differently than you would on console.
Sure.
I think with console, you're kind of, send an invite through whatever the main portal is. And
it's really not that bad. You're making it sound worse.
Well, I think I'll hit up my friend on Discord. I'll be like, hey, you want to play? Actually, like in voice comms, and they'll be, oh yeah, let's play, and then we'll get the whole group together really easy and fast.
Fair enough.
Sure, I think you can do that on console, but I think it's a smoother experience
yeah.
to do it on PC. So if you got PC, you would probably play way more often than you would on console. Maybe to your detriment, but
yes,
you'd have fun in the process. So it's going to be worth your money. You're going to enjoy building it, and you'll get kicked out of your house.
Okay.
Sound good?
Sounds good. Now I need to buy a Tesla to live in.
Hey, man, look, this is the start of your journey as you transform into a man, okay?
I don't think we're supposed to be having this conversation right now. This is not going the right direction. Well, I think that this might lead into a part 2, because if I do end up getting a PC, I would love to come back and talk about it, like after playing it for a while.
Look, you in particular as a person, I know everyone's probably watched the Get to Know Me podcast, right?
Sure.
And
I hope so.
I wish I would. I don't think I said this about you, but you're the most impulsive person I know.
No way.
You're the most.
I can't be. I do think about decisions a lot.
Aside from myself, you're the most impulsive person I know.
Come on.
Look, man. Listen. You'll tell me I'm doing it, but I don't know. And then 5 minutes later, I did it. Like that's you, basically. So I think you're going to be, having this conversation with me a little bit more. And then the next day you're going to be like, I did it. I bought all the parts and I'm about to build it like right now. So I think you're going to do it, and I think you'll enjoy it, and it'll be a cool experience. And you know what? If you need some help, I'm always here. I can help you.
Do you have a cheap hourly rate for me?
Hourly rate?
Yeah.
Let's see. What's the rate that you charge your clients? just double that.
Oh, jeez. That's rough. I charge them nothing sometimes.
Oh,
so we'll just take that.
Okay, sure.
This conversation is almost like it's almost as bad as Apple versus Android for the gaming community.
I think so. I think so.
Because there's no like right or wrong per se. It is partially based on preference and then partially based on spec.
Yeah. I'll be honest. I'll concede a little bit. Console is great. I think it's wonderful what they're doing, especially now recently. All the consoles that they've done, they're very highly spec'd.
Yeah.
And they perform great. And it's way better than what you could do on PS3 or PS4. Right. Way better than Xbox One and Xbox 360. Sure. Those previous consoles made it more clear.
Yes, they were okay.
But now the new generation consoles,
yeah,
they're on another level. I'll be honest about that.
Yeah, but you still can't play certain games that especially you enjoy.
And there's also always still something so special. Honestly,
I believe
you cannot deny this. There's something so special about a PC well built, even if you didn't build it. If you go to a company like iBuyPower or something, maybe as an example, and you go and custom pick each part that you want, and they send it to you. It's nice. You get all the colors you want, I guess. You just like seeing the color. I love LEDs. It. And then you have the glass to see the interior of it. Oh my God. What better concoction can you have other than this little square tower that looks like a freaking mesh access point?
It does. It doesn't look pretty at all.
It doesn't look pretty.
But you know what? It sits like this, and then I take my headphones and I put it right around it, and it fits perfectly on each side. That's how I store my headphones. And my head's bigger than it, so it doesn't stretch it out.
What are you going to do if you have a PS5?
I would never go that route.
No?
No. honestly, PlayStation to me is just too cumbersome. Like,
oh wow, should we have a Xbox versus
we might have to, but I don't think that. I think I have to bring my brother-in-law in for that one.
Probably well,
because you don't have a PlayStation, right?
The last PlayStation I had was a PS2.
I had a PS1. That was my last one.
Yeah,
but I used to play like my PlayStations at my cousin. Here, can I tell you like really quick? Because I don't want to get into this.
Go ahead,
another
man.
conversation.
Go ahead.
The one thing that drives me crazy about PlayStation is how many steps it takes to go from game chat to party chat. That's not like the only reason, but that's an example of how cumbersome to me PlayStation is versus Xbox is so easy. Like for instance, PlayStation, you literally have to leave the game to switch it back and forth. Where Xbox, you just pop the sidebar, boom, hit 2 buttons, and you're back in.
And this is to talk to friends, or
so like if you're on a party chat on Xbox,
yeah,
and you need to switch to game chat because let's say you have like a third player. Let's say you do a fill in a lobby, and you have a third player you need to talk to. You and your buddy are like, let's go over to game chat so we could talk to them because they don't have, we're not friends with them on Xbox, whatever.
Yeah.
You either click the home button, the communication button, and you click the menu button or whatever. There's I don't know what the button's called, and you're in. PlayStation, you literally have to like open the menu, which takes you out of the game, go into the chat settings, and then like go into the party and switch it to I might be messing up the steps a little bit, and then going into it's a big pain in the butt.
Maybe that's my experience and why I was saying, I guess it's more, it's a lot easier on PC to communicate, I guess.
No, but ultimately it is. Listen, you have 2 screens, you have keyboard and mouse. We're familiar with that. So I think what should happen next is probably I'll get one. I don't know when. I don't know if. There's another game that I've been thinking about playing that's only PC based.
What is it?
You're going to laugh at me.
What?
I've always wanted to try the flight simulator game.
Oh, that's great.
I would love to try that. But I would be the one to buy the yoke and like the full controller.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's really cool.
I love that stuff. Like just mechanically learning how to fly a plane, even though not really actually flying a plane.
And like they have like the semi truck simulator, and they have the goat simulator too. They have a goat simulator.
Do they really?
They do.
That's why
it's on Steam. And then they have, I think they have a couple other ones too, and they have like a surgeon simulator.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, like.
So like you can't do that kind of stuff on console.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's why I'm more. So I think what'll happen is eventually I'll cave and I'll do it. Mm-hmm. And then I think we should probably come back and I can tell you how much I hate it.
Oh man, if you get one, then you can play League of Legends with me.
I could.
And I can teach you the game.
I could.
You probably wouldn't like it at first because it's a steep learning curve.
Yeah.
But we can play, first person shooter, and you probably would hate the keyboard and mouse.
Just take me back to RuneScape when I was in.
We can play RuneScape.
School.
See, you can't play RuneScape on Xbox.
No, you can't. You're right.
Exactly.
That was like my first game that I loved. All the games that I used to love when I first started gaming were all PC.
And you know what? I guess maybe we can end on this. Maybe I don't know. It's up to you. But like the reason why I leaned more towards PC was because of the easy access to those types of games. Like RuneScape was free at first. I could play it in my browser.
It still is.
Yeah. And, there are other people that got into PC gaming because of World of Warcraft.
Right.
And like there is the one game that kind of defines, I guess, where you start maybe. And I think RuneScape was that for me because I was always on the computer. And so that was kind of my gateway drug to the rest of the games that I could play on my computer. So I think maybe if things were different, maybe I'd be a console guy because I did have console when I was growing up. I had my GameCube, I had my PS2. But the games on there just didn't hit as hard as.
So I agree with you 100%. But then I get kicked out to go outside and play a lot, so I didn't spend the whole time. I don't know. Okay, fine. I'm gonna go probably buy a PC eventually.
Okay.
And we're gonna do a follow up on this one day.
Yeah, that'd be great. I think,
and we'll see where we're at. I'll take it seriously.
And you know what? Maybe to make it more interesting, because my wife, has a PS4. I never touch it.
Oh, you want to switch to PS4 for a little bit?
Well, not necessarily switch, but like try to put more effort into trying to maybe play some games that are on there and see how I like it.
You should do that.
Yeah, and then maybe we'll talk about, hey, look, this is like how I feel about it now. Maybe I'll open my eyes a little bit more to it.
I think you're gonna hate it.
Yeah?
I actually think you're gonna hate it.
Really?
I do.
Why?
I don't know. I'll leave it at that. I don't think you're gonna like it.
Maybe because look, I'm the type of person that I like even if I don't want to be in a group of people and talk and be interactive, I like to be there, but like do other stuff in the background while they're there.
I'm the same way.
It makes me feel kind of like together. So what I'll do is I'll play a single player game on my computer, but I'll have Discord open. And
to be a part of the
group, and they'll be talking, and I'll be like, I'll be a part of what's going on. But when I'm on PS4, I don't know if I can do the same thing. Where no,
you're kind of in or out. I mean, you could have a party chat with other people on PS4 and play your own game.
Yeah, I guess so.
But
I feel like it's more isolated, the kind of experience that you'll have.
Okay, so I think we've come to agreement. You're gonna buy me a PC, and then you're gonna also.
Hey, sure, man. If it comes out of your paycheck,
we'll talk to HR and see if we can make that happen.
Sure, man.
Okay, sounds good. All right, man. I think that's what we're gonna do. All right, I guess we'll be back. We'll be back one day to talk about this.
Monday.
One day.
One day.
Don't push it, man. Don't push it. HR doesn't work that fast. They're quick around here, but they're not that fast.
Oh, okay.
And by HR, I'm pointing to my office.
I know. That's why it's so funny.
All right, man. You have a good rest of the weekend.